What's good, everybody? It's your boy. Notification bell button for your boy. 70% of you guys are not subscribed. I don't know why. It don't cost you anything, not even a nickel or a dime. Let's get into today's video. Before you do that, click the link in the description for some cool piston gear. But man. Today, we are going to have on none other than one of my favorite guests to have, one of the most legendary piston riders, my boy Steve, man. We're going to get into talking about the Pistons rotation, man, and what Piston fans should expect out of Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, and etc., man. It's going to be a real interesting conversation. You guys let me know what you think about everything, but yeah, we're going to get into it. It should be very, very interesting. But yeah, man, we're going to get into it. Oh, what's up, Steve? How you doing, man?
Yourself?
I'm doing all right. The same usual, just grinding out. Finally got 1K on YouTube. I'm happy about that, man.
Hey man, congratulations. So slow grind, right? Slow grind.
Yeah, slow grind, man. I appreciate you always coming on and to chop it out. Make sure you go to DetroitBadBoys.com and go check out his articles, man. Always amazing articles, depth and detail. He's gonna break it down analytically. Like I can't, I might have just messed up that word, but we're gonna roll with it. But yeah, so
All right, so I saw your video on
hmm,
the maybe they're going to be involved. This is going to be involved in the Donovan Mitchell Knicks swap. I agree with that for sure. It seems like there's just been too much activity going on between Detroit and New York, right? That it doesn't seem like if there's a third team involved, it would seem like it has to be them. But again, they have to make the money work with Mitchell, so I don't know. We'll see, but it would make sense.
you think so? Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
Who you think we would get? Or who you think the Pistons would get back though?
Probably Fournier.
Hmm.
I think Julius Randle too, but it would probably have to involve like them being able to take on a another first round pick, which I'm not sure either side would do, or maybe somebody like Obi Toppin. But again, I don't see why that would happen.
Yeah. I definitely it just makes too much sense. And Kimball Walker is still a part of the Pistons, which is
Yeah, yeah.
odd. Yeah.
I know buyouts can take a while, but normally they don't take this long. So yeah, that seems to be curious at the very least.
Like I told people this, I never seen the buyout take more than a week from the Pistons. Usually buyout was like 2 or 3 later. It
And yeah, you know how Troy Weaver works too. He's ready to stretch and he's ready to buy out guys ASAP. So it's odd that he's still around.
yeah. And then another thing is, what do you think Jaden Ivey and Jalen Durant? What do you think Pistons fans should expect from both of them?
Well, so I've been diving back into the Ivy film. Number one is just free throws for Ivy. Like he's going to generate a bunch of free throws. I think still even as a rookie, that's something that just seems to translate. His free throw attempt rate was in the high 40s. I can give you specifics here in just a second, but just the way he attacks the rim, it's hard just to see that not translating really well. He's probably going to get like a lot of 50-50 calls though in terms of charges and blocks because he does play out of control at times. His body is moving too fast for the rest of them. Yeah, his free throw attempt rate was 46.9%. So that's good for guard. So he's going to get to the rim. He's going to get to the free throw line. The shooting, I think, is going to be inconsistent at best. I don't expect him to come in and be able to shoot it that well. Although, I mean, we only saw 5 quarters of him, right, in the summer league. But even then, his mechanics looked a little bit better. The shot for me, the main thing that I didn't like in college is it came out flat. You would see the arc just kind of go straight towards the rim. But in summer league, you saw him get it up. Like the shot came out and it came up and out and actually had a bigger arc, which I think is a big deal. He still has I think the main thing is he has issues with his offhand. That's why he saw that one bad air ball and a couple others that went to the left or right. It seems like that seems to be the thing that he needs to work on just to keep the aim consistent. I know that John Beeline's your coach, and obviously I'm a Michigan guy. I was there the whole time Beeline was there. Um, alum there, and I know at least in his shooting, he'll just kind of fix one or two things. He's not going to like rework the entire shot. And the thing I think I noticed the most is just Jaden Ivey bending his knees a little bit more. And I think the release, again, I'm not a shot person. This is just like, nerdy fan type of stuff. But I think the part of the release of it coming out better, like it coming out with a better arc, is he's releasing it a little bit before he gets to the top of his jump, kind of like a Steph Curry. So it's coming out with more of an arc rather than just like shooting it flat towards the rim, which again are both positive indicators. But again, the misses are always going to be really bad with him because there's just something about his shot that, like, when he misses, he really misses. And again, there were a lot of times where the last year where he just couldn't hit anything. The first half of the year he did really good, like 40-some%, and then second half of the year he shot like 29.8%. So that's going to be much. It's going to be for shooting. He can't do really much of anything in between three and the rim. He doesn't have a pull-up game. He has this weird like runner, push, floater. I don't even know what to call it. It's a weird, funky shot. Didn't go in that often. He didn't take many mid-rangers, so that's going to be nothing. I do think he'll slot into Jeremy Grant's offensive role pretty good because they let him ISO a lot. Ivey can do that, and I think they'll have more success than Grant, to be quite honest, just because of his athleticism and his ball handling. Probably going to turn over a lot because he does force passes. I mean, he's a young guard. That's just comes with the territory. Driving kick, he'll get to the guys in the corners a lot. But the main thing for me is defense. Just I'm trying to put together a clip to put together in an article because that's the big thing for him. I think his defense is terrible, to be quite honest. Like, he looks like a different athlete on defense than he does on offense. Too many times, you will see him just get on somebody's hip and then just kind of stay there and not like reposition himself. You don't see him shuffle his feet a lot. He's just trying to outrun everybody on defense again, which gets him in foul trouble. And he will do one or two stupid fouls every single game, whether it's like reaching around, punching the ball. And you saw that in summer league too, right?
Mm.
Where I think it was in the Portland game, it looked like somebody hooked him, but he actually like went underneath and tried to punch the ball out, ended up hitting them, and they called a foul on him, stupid foul. And then there was another one, I think, still in that game where again he reached around behind the guy to try to punch the ball out, and they called a foul on him. And it's just like those are the things that he has to stop immediately. And I'm sure Coach Casey will get on him about it. But defense is just going to be kind of like from ground zero, shuffling your feet, consistently staying in stance, not getting on your heels, and staying engaged all the time because he has a lot of work to do with it.
Yeah.
Duren, though, I mean, Duren, I think, is actually going to spend more time in the G League than we think. And I think it's just because of the bodies. Right now they have Kelly Olynyk, they have Isaiah Stewart, they have Marvin Bagley, they have Nerlens Noel, who all theoretically should play ahead of Duren being the rookie, right? And I know the guys at Detroit Bad Boys talked about, if you listen to the podcast and stuff, Pistons Pulse and Detroit Bad Boys podcast, they talk a lot about Duren not really boxing people out and just being this big, strong guy that tries to just overpower everybody. And I think that's the main reason why he'll stay in the G League is kind of working more on fundamental stuff. Because almost all of his game now is just trying to out jump and out muscle everybody, which you'll get by okay. Like somebody like Mitchell Robinson does it fairly well, but I think they believe that he has more to do and more to offer. His short roll passing is really good. Like he'll make 2 to 3 passes every game. That's like, whoa, that was a really good read. And I think that's something they want to develop and get him in the G League and do that as well. Maybe like one post move. I'm also a believer long term in the jump shot. Not that he'll be a 3-point shooter, but he did bust out this like 16 to 20-foot shot every now and then that looks fine, and I think it's something to develop.
Yeah. I like I'm also a believer in the jump shot. I think the jump shot will be fine. Like I said, I agree. I don't think he'll ever be a 3-point shooter, but if he can hit
Yeah.
range in the 15 to 20 feet and do a turnaround, man, it'll take him into the next level. It really will.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I think he shot like 60% from the free throw line, 62.5. So it's not bad.
mm-mm, not horrible. Especially for somebody his size, that is not horrible.
I know 6'11", 250. You expect him to just like be tripping over his feet, but he's not.
Mm. And that's another thing that surprised me about Jalen Duren is he can switch on guards and kind of stay with them. I wasn't expecting that. I'm not going for a little.
Yeah, he did it at Memphis enough. Um, Not that you would like put that as a strength, but enough to be like, hey, this needs to be developed. I actually think if he trimmed down a little bit, maybe he's playing like 230 to 240, we probably have a better time doing it.
Yeah, that's true. One thing I really wanted to talk to you about is the rotation. What do you think the rotation is ultimately going to be for the Pistons, man?
All right, so this is going to be like a little bit of a tangent because I'm actually writing about this, trying to put together an article to write about this. So for sure, we know Cade, Sadiq, Isaiah Stewart, Jake Ivey, they have to get minutes, right? They're probably the ones getting like 30 or more minutes a night.
Mm,
Cade and Sadiq cannot, obviously. I don't think those require much explanation. Stewart, we've seen them want him to extend his range, and that was like the big thing in summer league, right?
mm,
So I think they will continue to play him there. Also, he's been playing that pretty much amount of minutes since he's been here. He's only getting better as a switch defender. He's only getting better in like the little things like rebounding and being physical and lining people up on defense. They need that for sure. And Kelly Olynyk obviously does not provide that. Nerlens Noel, I believe, isn't here long term, so I don't think he's going to get that much there. And then Duren is going to take time. Jaden Ivey, the fifth overall pick. Very rare that a fifth overall pick doesn't play around 30 minutes a night, and they need his offense, number one. So, yeah, he's got to be playing. The guy I think is going to need to play somewhere around that same, like 25 to 30 is Alec Burks, just because he shot 40% from three, like 40.4 on 389 attempts from three last year, and that would have put him second on the team in terms of attempts. Sadiq shot 610 threes last year, and Cade was 326, so 386 at 40%. That's desperately needed. 6'6", but then on the wing, he can play some point too as well, so I think he'll be there. They'll probably give him some nights to rest. He hasn't exactly been like the model of durability, but I think he's somebody that is absolutely necessary. Um, I'm a believer in Hamidou Diallo that he's still probably around like 20 minutes a night, just because last year, like when everybody was hurt or everybody had COVID, he was the one guy that consistently brought it and did something where he put up like 15 or 20 in that January, February stretch where nobody was there. And every time you watch him, even if like he's not shooting well, he just does things like cutting, catching lobs, being able to break guys down off the dribble, can pass a little. I think he's still there. I think they still really want him to develop, especially more as a defender, to be able to pay him and keep him around because he's just a nice, athletic guy that can make a lot of things happen. Olynyk has to be in that lineup too. I mean, they pay him like he needs to play for one, and then he's also a three-point shooter, which they're obviously lacking still. So I think he has to be in that rotation. I mean, there's probably a world where he starts if they really believe in Isaiah Stewart at the four. They could conceivably roll out Cade, Ivey, Sadiq, Kelly Olynyk, Isaiah Stewart as opening starters. I could see it, but he'll still be in that like sixth man type of role, no matter what. I think. As much as I hate to say it, Bagley's got to be in the rotation because they're paying him like he's got to be in that like fifth to seventh spot, right? A lot of people think he's going to be starting at power forward, which sucks, but the numbers with Cade are good. He scored like 14, a little bit over 14 points a game when he was here in Detroit. It's not that many games, but um, shot like 60% from the field. And again, he was a good pick and roll dude with Cade. It was a good guy to just dump the ball to the post and score quite a bit. And he, again, even if he ends up not starting, I think he's like this Ennis Cantor type of bench big that happens with that. And then Corey Joseph, Killian Hayes, I think they're definitely have to be in the rotation, try to work out no matter what, being the seventh overall pick from his draft. And Corey Joseph, like Coach Casey, just trusts him too much, and he's the only guy really that provides both good point of attack defense on point guards and 3-point shooter. He shot 40%, over 40% from three last year. I know a lot of Pistons fans kind of like poo on him, but to me, I'm like, if you don't like Corey Joseph or can't see like he's really successful and good in his role, then I really don't know what to tell you. So in that, to see Cade, Sadiq, Stu, Jaden, Alec, Mohamedou, Olenek, Bagley, Joseph Hayes, that's 10 right there. It's hard to find more minutes outside of that, right? Because all those guys kind of work. Like Killian and Corey are the two that are kind of I think the hardest ones to predict. I could see definitely Corey sliding into the Rodney McGruder role if they really wanted to go more with the young guys. But again, Coach Casey's just proven that he trusts him and that he does things that he wants out there. So it's hard to say that he's going to go to that role. And then Killian too. I mean, if he doesn't improve or doesn't show some kind of improvement and doesn't just kind of implode the offense, even in the backup role, I'm not sure how long they're going to just let him be out there. Yeah, who knows? He's the one that like has to do something more positive on offense. The one guy that's really the wild card is Isaiah Livers. A lot of people on Twitter and a lot of people at Detroit Bad Boys are talking about he has to be in the rotation just for shooting. Because again, they're really lacking shooting and, being able to space the floor with either Jaden or Cade and having that consistent 3-point shooter would help out a lot. But again, he's a second-round pick. I'm not sure where he's at. I definitely would argue for him in the rotation and him on the bench as like the backup power forward. But I don't know. He's definitely like somebody to watch in training camp because I think if he just continues to shoot lights out and then goes into preseason and shoot lights out, there's really no excuse not to play him at all. And then at that point, you probably have to bump Corey Joseph because he's not going to be here long, and you got to work Livers into that. And then outside of this rotation is Nerlens, Jalen Duren, Kevin Knox, Saben Lee. I mean, Kevin Knox, Saben Lee, they're probably not going to get anything, just scraps, right? I can't imagine they're going to be able to do much of anything, especially if they can't shoot the ball. Nerlens, I still have a hard time finding a role with him here because even if you take Jalen Duren out of the equation, say he's in the G League most of the year, you still have Stewart, Olenek, Bagley, and then like where does he fit in? Because you don't really want to play him with Bagley. He'll make up for his defense, but that's a nightmare on offense. Two guys you don't have to worry about spacing. And then with Stewart's unknown jump shot, again, that could be another issue there as well. So he's just the one guy that I don't know what he's still doing here. I still think he's going to be traded just because of that. Like it's hard for me to find a role for him.
You think Noel's going to be traded?
Yeah. I mean, between him and Olenek, he just offers less. His defense is better than Olenek's, but Olenek's offense is far ahead of Nerlens' offense. I think that even makes a difference, and especially if you're trying to develop Cade and Killian. I mean, Cade and Ivey, and I guess Killian too. Then you need that stretch big, right?
Yeah. That's a good point. So Vegas projected us to only win 27. Do you necessarily believe that, or do you think we're going to win more than 27 games? Or
yeah, I think that's about right. Maybe like 30, 32 at the most, I think. Again, they're not trying to be good. They see Victor Wembanyama just like we see Victor Wembanyama, and definitely I think that's the thing. Them and the Spurs, the Spurs are definitely ahead of the curve in terms of that. I think that's why they're happy to rebuild now. That's probably their number one goal is to get Wembanyama. And you know how their international scouting is. So I think that's one of the main things of the Pistons not doing it. And again, the lineup I just read, like that's not exactly like a murderer's row of dudes, right? And there's still a lot of experimentation. We don't know if Cade and Ivey are going to work out great. You got to try out things in this first year to see what the scheme we should run is, like how the ball handling should go about. And not to say if fails in 1 year, they should just abandon ship. But this is the time where you just have to try things out and know you're going to crash and burn, know that you're going to do things that make you lose games, but it's all in the process of development. And then duren too. If duren gets time, every big man throughout history struggled like on defense in a rookie year, so that's going to be taking the lumps. And even somebody like Isaiah Stewart, Marvin Bagley, kind of unknowns even still. If Stewart's going to be told, hey, we want you to take like three pointers a game, it does not matter what you shoot. We just need you to get those reps in. We just need you to continue to develop here so you're more comfortable with it in game. Again, that's going to be things that he's going to have stretches where he's probably going to be ice cold because he's never really had to be a 3-point shooter before. So again, those are going to be things that make you lose games. And then Bagley too. Bagley's terrible on defense. I don't really think that that's just going to turn around in the season. He hasn't shown that he can consistently space the floor. Again, another thing that's going to have you lose games. So I really don't see how this team wins more than like 32 games.
Good point.
Which is fine. Again, it's all about lineup experimentation and development of the core.
I said if everything goes right without injuries, I could see it be like a 35-win team. So
yeah, that seems about right. Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to get into, the Pistons don't have a lot of wings, and I've been noticing. I think, to be honest, might be a little too far ahead. This might be, but I think they're really going to draft a small forward, power forward next year's draft.
Yeah, definitely. Me and another guy, Scott at Detroit Bad Boys, talk about this all the time. That's why they don't have a wing, is because this upcoming draft class has like Tariq Whitehead. It has Chris Smith, I think is his name, from Arkansas. The Thompson twins. Like, it's pretty wing heavy. And I'm sure Troy Weaver is leaving that hole in the lineup because he wants that one of these guys to come in as well. And then you could slide Kate over into the wing spot if you really wanted to, but we'll see if that's something that they decide to do next year or not. Because, I mean, theoretically, you could get somebody like Scoot Henderson, or you could get somebody like Wembanyama that you draft, and then you got to figure out what to do, how to move the lineups around, and whoever they bring in free agency.
Yeah, it definitely is a lot. One kid that I really like next year's draft, and I don't know if you know know him, Cam Whitmore, going to Villanova.
Yeah, I only know very little of him. I really don't like try to speak on these guys until I've seen them in 10 games of college because I think it's unfair to like put any kind of pressure on high school kids, 18 or years younger kids, unless they're already playing professional somewhere like a Victor Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson. Like, I really try not to speak too much on them until I can see, because there's situations like Brandon Boston or even like Amani Bates now where it's just like, it's just unfair to them, right? They've got all this pressure put on them too early, and you can't just let them develop. So,
right. It's definitely gonna be, but
I mean, even in the guys that are projected in the later part of round one, like there's Terrence Arsenault, who's at Houston. He's another guy that would fit good on this Pistons team. Somebody to look out for.
Is he a wing?
Yeah, he's a wing. He'll be playing for Houston.
I have to look him up. You might have to send it to me.
Yeah, I will.
But yeah, it's definitely gonna be an interesting year. It's definitely about to be a fun year for the Pistons. Like I said, so you think that we're gonna be a part of that right? If not, what roster move do you think we're gonna make another roster move for a shooter or like for a different power forward or for what? If you had to guess.
Yeah, you would think it'd be for another shooter, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would think it'd be for somebody like at least functional on the wing. Because right now the wings are Burks, Amadou, Knox. Like, that's a terrible wing rotation. That's only 3 guys, only 2 of which are probably playing like actual minutes. So yeah, that would be my guess. Who they would grab though is kind of hard because I don't really see anybody in trade that like makes a ton of sense, either in terms of being able to match the money or like finding somebody that can fit that role. Like Buddy Hield would obviously make a ton of sense, but Indy's already really, I think they're like 30 million under the salary cap, so they actually need more salary to fill right now after missing on DeAndre Ayton.
Mhm.
Uh, look around here. I mean, maybe they could get like somebody like Joe Harris from the Nets if they end up trading um, Kevin Durant, just kind of on a rental. There was somebody else too that's like got a 1 year deal. All of a sudden, my mind is escaping me here. Davis Bertans would be another one if Dallas just wanted to get off that money. And it was a little bit longer, so not exactly the greatest one. I think he's signed for like 3 more years. Yeah, man, I know there's another one. All of a sudden, I'm blanking on who it is, but I know the other one that's been thrown around is Bogdanovich from the Hawks.
Mhm.
I think they kind of want to keep him. It seems like that's all indications, and he has a leg injury he's dealing with, so I'm not sure that's exactly like the best move as well.
Yeah. Um, Another thing I noticed interesting about the Pistons, I don't know if it's true or not, but I think if I looked it up correctly, I think they got 3 or 4 second round picks. Wonder if they're gonna trade any of those for next year's draft.
Probably, Weaver doesn't care about second round picks.
Hmm. It would be interesting, but besides that, I don't got anything else. Do you got anything else to mention?
No, that was it. It's just trying to figure out this rotation of the team how it is now, and like when you lay that out too, it's like I said, that still seems like they're missing somebody, right? They're missing a shooter somewhere
Mm-hmm.
in there, or they just really believe that Cade and Sadiq are going to be good, like 37 or above all year, and they believe Isaiah Stewart's going to be, like 33 to 36% all year, because then that fixes a lot of things. Because then you have Cade, Sadiq, Stewart, Burks, Olynyk, Corey Joseph, Isaiah Livers, who seem to be like dependable shooters, and that seems to be enough for a young team that you're still trying to develop.
Right, right, right. It definitely interesting. It was great talking to you, bro.
Yeah, always. Thanks for having me as always.
Oh, no problem. Always, always. And I can't wait until do another one. But um, you shout out your stuff and let them know where to find you.
Yeah, so I'm over at DetroitBadBoys.com. You can find me on Twitter at BoardGay Worldwide, on Instagram as well, BoardGay Worldwide. Be coming up with looking at rotation stuff, trying to put together some Jaden Ivey things. Probably drop in August though now when I catch up on work in real life. Other than that though, make sure you like, subscribe to Pistons Mike here. Always, man. 1,000 and climbing.
No, thanks. I appreciate it, man. I work so hard. I always like doing this with you because I'm going to put a link in the description of one of the articles. Make sure you go check it out. Like I said, this dude is a great basketball mind. It's always out to great people who got great basketball minds. So, yeah. Have a good one, bro, and have a blessed day in peace. Hello? Oh, I think the live ended.